We have Elon Musk and his minions at DOGE. They are now threatening to cut up to half of Social Security Administration staffing. And then on top of all that, you have Mr. Musk claiming that Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. Social Security is not a Ponzi scheme. Paid out every benefit owed to every eligible American for over 80 years. All Senate offices are getting a whole lot of calls from senior citizens who are experiencing a great deal of fear and anxiety as to all of the confusion and chaos that is currently going on here in Washington. When we have the president and my Republican colleagues talking about cutting Medicaid by some $880 billion, let us be clear, they are not just talking about throwing millions of children and others off of the health insurance they have. They are also talking about cuts to community health centers, which receive about 43% of their funding from Medicaid, and where millions of seniors go to get their primary care. So cutting Medicaid impacts primary care. At a time when we have a major crisis in nursing home availability. Let us understand that Medicaid provides approximately 2 out of 3 seniors. Cuts in Medicaid would be a disaster for seniors in nursing homes. But it's not just Medicaid cuts that worry seniors. At a time when the Social Security Administration is already understaffed, from seniors who tell us they're calling up Social Security, they've got a problem, they are not getting a response, and the result of that is that some 30,000 people a year die in the midst of a crisis where Social Security is understaffed, where our response should be to significantly increase staffing. We have Elon Musk and his minions at DOGE cutting some 2,500 Social Security staff, and incredibly, they are now threatening to cut up to half of Social Security Administration staffing. And then on top of all that, you have Mr. Musk claiming that Social Security, which has paid out every benefit owed to every eligible American for over 80 years, claiming that it is a Ponzi scheme. According to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, we now have the dubious distinction of having one of the highest rates of senior poverty compared to other wealthy nations. We have more nuclear weapons than any other country. We have more billionaires than any other country. But we also have one of the highest rates of senior poverty of any country on earth. We might want to get our priorities right. Now, Mr. President, while my Republican colleagues would like to make massive cuts to Medicaid, we think that it makes more sense to substantially improve the lives of our nation's seniors by expanding Medicare to cover dental, vision, and hearing benefits. But you know how you're going to pay for it. So let me tell you how we're going to pay for it. We are going to pay for it by requiring Medicare to pay no more for prescription drugs than the VA. Right now, we pay the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. That means significantly increased expenses for Medicare. By making sure that Medicare pays no more than the VA, which has for years negotiated prices with the pharmaceutical industry, we can not only cut the price of prescription drugs for our seniors in half, we will save over $800 billion over the next decade, which would more than pay for this legislation. Further, the Nonpartisan Medicare Payment Advisory Commission has estimated that Medicare Advantage plans overcharge the federal government by $83 billion a year. In other words, President, if we are serious about waste, fraud, and abuse, we may want to take a look at the massive waste and fraud that is taking place with private Medicare Advantage plans. Those savings would also more than fully pay for this legislation.